Hey everyone, Nerdy checking in for another episode here on my Let's Play world. Today guys, I have got a little bit to show you before we start the episode, which is essentially just where I'm standing. As you guys could probably tell from the intro time-lapse, I have been slowly chipping away at this behemoth of stone, and I have to say, this looks so much bigger now that there's not this center bit, which is really silly considering it's only about 60 blocks in diameter, the center bit, and then that outside wall is about 120-ish blocks in diameter, so just the storage system is a crazy project. But I actually kind of want to step away from that today. I may come back to it later in the episode, I don't know, depends on what happens. But I want to actually start on my base instead of just a storage system. So, for those of you who don't know, my base is going to be a massive city underneath a mountain with a city on top of it. Because ideas happened. So, if we come up, can I make it? Can I make it? Can I make it? Nope. Noise. Oh man, I'm lovely at flying. But anyway, if we come up here, you guys can see that I have kind of changed up this mountain area a little bit. I have added in some guidelines, and I think that they're good. I think that they will be staying. Not entirely sure. So each of these is about 5 blocks apart from each other, meaning that this particular slope is probably going to be fairly steep considering it's like right there, so not totally sure how this is going to work, but I have been having some more ideas on the design aspects of this top part of the mountain, especially considering 1.16 snapshots have started to come out. So, for those of you who haven't seen them, they're introducing blue lanterns and blue torches, and I'm super hyped because they are so pretty, and they also don't melt snow. So, my original plan was to have this look just very much like a mountain in that the top would be more stone, and then once you got about halfway down, there would be a bunch of green with trees, and that was where the town would start, and you know, just that whole thing, and then have snow up here. But if there's going to be blue torches and blue wood and kind of an overall just colder way to do things, I'm kind of thinking it might be really cool to take, and once I've got this all terraformed up, looking nice, looking spiffy, I could come in and add like a witch hut or a warlock's mansion manor place thingy, or some form of igloo that just kind of leads into like maybe a cave taken on the inside of this mountain, kind of shape up a cave that would be hidden somewhere that's just kind of full of like magic and blues and purples and just all of that stuff. So I think that could look really cool. I'm hoping that Optifine, because I use Optifine, if you guys couldn't tell, I hope that updates really soon because I really want to use 1.16. I've seen all of the different little leathery bits and they're so cute. I know that's like a really weird thing to say about the nether, but they are so beautiful and pretty, and I can just see myself building a lot of cute stuff with them. So get ready guys. This one's going to nerd out. Especially considering, look at my hair, it's blue. If you guys couldn't tell, blue is my favorite color. And they're coming out with blue wood, which is like, So I think what I want to do first off in this episode though is take and just do a pretty big time lapse of me just attempting to fill this in and get this little bit looking like a mountain, like some terrain, and a bit less like a giant skeleton. So, oh, lovely flying. Anyway, let's get into that time lapse. Check it out, guys. We have a solid start to this mountain, and I have to say I am so happy it's done. This took so many hours, and I am so done with placing blocks that I'm actually going to move on to something else. So, this is actually a different day from the day that I recorded my last couple of clips, and in between those, I have actually started my Techtopia series. So if you want to go check that out, I'll link up in the corner of the screen and down in the description. So, beyond doing that, I also got thinking about some of the plans that I have for this base, and one of which is how big this mountain is, and some of the different things that are going to be happening once I get the mountain complete. So as you guys can tell right here, I've also come back through and done a little bit of blending up. So this stalagmite or column is finally connected to the roof of this thing, and I have to say I am super happy with it, and definitely pending lots more work to it. But that is not actually what I was thinking of. One of the problems that I'm having is just the dark. This thing is going to be absolutely drenched in shadow for pretty much all of it. So I can either go through and essentially torch spam, or I can do a mob switch. So for those of you who are like past me, that was 5 minutes ago, and don't know what a mob switch is, a mob switch essentially takes, and as far as I understand, I'm probably going to get half of this wrong, so before you go down to the comments and get mad at me, I don't fully understand this, but I'm trying. But anyway, it takes, and essentially you get enough hostile mobs to fill the mob cap, and then having them in the spawn chunks will essentially turn off mob spawning for the world. So I have done a very rudimentary version of it, which is over here, which essentially you have to have a second account and a lot more mobs to be able to turn it off. But it does kind of work, and I do really like it. The problem with it is it's killing my computer. So I want to get one that doesn't require the second account being over here, so that when I have to go do time lapses and things, I don't have to come and use this one. So these zombies, once they spawn, will of course despawn once I leave the area. So I have this little thing that takes and circles them around, throws them into this room, and then I can have my second account standing right here, and they fill up, and then no more mobs spawn, which is heaven. So what I actually want to do is take and get one mob in the game that does not despawn, which is actually the shulker. So problem with getting a ton of shulkers is I have decimated every end city within 18,000 blocks of my end portal. So I have to go fight the dragon again. To do that, I need a bunch of wither skulls to get nether stars to get end crystals to get the dragon. But on the wither skull front, I was originally just planning on grinding it out and just dealing with it, and about 5 hours in, I said no. So there's another interesting game mechanic that I recently found, which is charged creepers, when they explode another mob, will then drop that mob's head. So if they explode a zombie, you'll get the zombie head. Oh, that was lovely on my part. Anyway, I think that same principle works for wither skeletons. So instead of me spending 4.5 hours trying to get several thousand of them to kill, I could just get a dozen of them, kill them with charged creepers, and then boom, I have a dozen heads. So with that though, it's not as simple as me just setting up the farm and calling it good. I want this thing to look good, because I'm putting so much effort into this base that I'm not going to settle for anything but the best. So with my nether base that I'm planning, that will essentially be kind of a foil to this base, it's going to make it super difficult because I am sticking with my original plan of having an exact replica of this base. Thing is it's not going to be completely exact. It's going to be a little bit of history. So as you guys remember, I am attempting to kind of develop a story to go with this place. Maybe eventually I'll even have books that are like scattered around the place that have smidges of history that maybe when I release the world download you guys can go find. But that's still all in the planning phase. Anyway, for the Nether hub, I want to take and have it be the exact moment the original people of the mountain were destroyed. So, I've decided it wasn't because of a lack of oxygen because of plants. It was because they were attacked by someone for something. Probably it'll end up being the dragon egg because that's like the only thing I can think of that would be good. If you guys have another idea, comment down below, please. But anyway, I want to have it be the moment that those people were destroyed. So instead of the base being very focused on green and beauty and, you know, repairing what was destroyed, it's going to be on fire. And that's pretty much going to be its only focus, is that it's on fire. So with that, it also means that I'm very limited as to where I can put the mob farm besides just having to have it in a Nether fortress. I knew what they were called. Anyway, besides having to have it in another fortress, it also has to work into my design. But I think I figured something out. I can have a main building that is no longer here because it was being just absolutely burned. It's covered in flames and sending up a huge amount of smoke. And using that smoke, I can create kind of like what I have right here, just a bit of a drop shaft that they can then fall through, and I'll have a nether portal at the end of it to filter them into the little chamber. So I think that'll work. I just need to design the actual getting the creepers and making the creepers be charged and all the rest of it. So I think what I want to do is actually bop over into my test world and get something more than this vague idea that is in my head. So let's do a quick jump cut to me having some idea for a blast chamber and other factory type designs. So let's jump to that right now. Alright guys, I have a little bit of an idea for what I want this factory to look like. So I have created this. The idea is that this was the original structure and then people came and added on to make the thing a little bit bigger. And I have to say, I really like this design and I think it will work, especially once I get a better build palette and some detailing going down. But I have also made a slight modification to the design. I want to have a column sitting right on top of this. And the reason is I need sky access in order for channeling and everything with the trident to work. So the idea is that the column will sit on top, and then at the top of the column there's going to be like a house or something to disguise the fact that there's a giant hole in my mountain. Either that, or it might be really cool to figure out a way to have a pond that you can just look down and see this creeper farm underneath. I don't know which one I'm gonna go with, but one of those two for sure. But the most important part of this, I have come up with kind of a what are they called? Rube's Goldberg machine for getting all of these creepers and everything. And I have to say, it's super messy, it's kind of ugly, and I absolutely love it. I love everything to do with this thing. So, I'm going to attempt to walk you through what I've done, and hopefully it makes sense. So, first up we have a creeper-only farm behind here, and it has two modes. We have collection mode, which sends the creepers over into this little thing, or farm mode, that's what it is. Farm mode, essentially, they come up, they fall, they die. Their items come up through here, and then we collect them right here. And it actually works pretty great as just a passive gunpowder farm, because even when I don't release all the water from the trapdoors, these guys will occasionally just walk off the edge and fall to their demise. So I have to say I'm really pleased with this, and of course this also works as an off switch, because when the water is flowing across all of those platforms, they do become unspawnable. So I really like this farm. It works really well. But once we have these creepers over here, you can take and press this button. A minecart will shoot out of there, catch one of them, and then send them all the way over to here where you can name them, and then hit this button, which will eject them into this chamber. And then once you have this chamber full, or there's enough creepers for it to be worth the while, and a thunderstorm, you can use this channeling trident to hit one of these armor stands, and that will then bring down the lightning and turn all of these guys into charged creepers. I then also have this secondary system, which is just for general mobs that I can take, and apparently I haven't been doing enough of this. I can pull them out, give them a name, hit this button, send them in, and just do that a bunch of times, get a bunch of them all stored up and ready to meet their end. The nice thing is when the zombies are holding something, because then I don't have to use a name tag. So anyway, those guys are there. And then the most important part of this entire farm, and the reason for its existence, the withers. So the idea is I'll have my untested nether fortress farm thing up somewhere in that direction there. And then once the flying machine sweeper arm thing that I'm thinking of brings all the withers to one side and drops them down, I'll have some form of something that sends them down to this level. And once they hit this level, I'll have this set up right here, an iron golem behind a nether portal. And then this guy will attempt to get him, and in the process go right into the overworld. And it works every single time. So if we come back through, of course I'll have a separate nether portal, probably somewhere over there for me to go through. But once these guys are down here, I can take and hit this. They come over here, and then I can give them a name, pop them out, and send them into there. So the whole idea with all of these little collection things is I'll be able to take and on any given day sit and stock up a ton of different hostile mobs. Just take and, you know, spend a couple of hours gathering withers, going over and gathering enough creepers, getting enough zombies and skeletons and such, so that when I do actually need their heads, or when a thunderstorm finally shows up, I'll be able to just run over here and have everything ready so that I can just hit these guys and then start up production. So once I get them into these collection chambers, that's when everything gets really simple, because it's just a matter of clicking that lever, waiting for the lag spike to be over. Ooh. Ah, that's what's up. Anyway, get rid of that minecart, then bring over one of these dudes, and then whip out my flint and steel, light that guy up, and boom, we have a skull! And it works so well. And then I have this little thing to collect them up back there, and I have to say, I'm so happy with this. I'm so happy with every part of this just manic system. And it's so amazing. It reminds me seriously of a mad scientist laboratory. So I think it's complete. I think this will work perfectly for what I'm trying to do. and I can't wait to make it over on my survival world, but unfortunately I have completely run out of time for today. This took me a couple of hours to design. This took forever, and then building it up also took forever, so it's been a lot of fun, and I hope that you all enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like, comment what you think of this crazy thing, and if you would like to see me make some form of tutorial for how to make this. And then, of course, subscribe to see more of my content, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Nerdy out!